Yeah, maybe the Championship isn't going to be that easy for West Ham this season. West Ham fans have all been very sceptical in the Championship. The neutral Championship fan thinks that West Ham are going to be walking the division, but every single West Ham fan will tell you that the Championship is not going to be a walk in the park like a lot of neutrals think it would be for West Ham. And I think that match has just proved it. And I mean, questions have to be asked in multiple areas in terms of the recruitment, in terms of not bringing enough players, the depth in the squad, as well as that in terms of the manager and the decisions that he made in this match, which all went fatally wrong from an unbelievable position that West Ham were in. Here is 5 things we've learned from the West Ham versus Burnley game, from both perspectives, from both teams, and what we've learned about these teams as well going into the Championship season, which is going to be an unbelievably entertaining Championship season. If you are a West Ham fan, if you are a Burnley fan, then do hit subscribe on this channel. We talk about West Ham and Burnley pretty much every single day. So if you support both of these teams, or one of these teams, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Drop a like if you do go on to enjoy the video, and do hype the video as well. If you're happy that the Championship football is back, if you're happy that West Ham and Burnley are back, do hit that hype button as well. And let's jump straight into 5 things that we learn from this match. Now, I mean, the first thing we've learned, which I would say West Ham fans already knew that this was going to be the case in the Championship. It's not easy. There's no easy games in the Championship. And I mean, Burnley, they did get relegated from the Premier League as well. So Burnley were expecting to be up there come the end of the season. I mean, it really was a game of two halves in terms of the fact that West Ham gave a really good account of themselves in the first half, 1-0 up as well through a Kilman goal, and he could be in for a very decent season, I think, overall for West Ham at the back in this Championship season, dropping down a level, getting himself a goal to open up the season. And then you're going in at half-time, 1-0 up, and things are looking pretty good for West Ham, you'd have to say so far. Pretty satisfied with the first half performance. And then you see a substitution get made from Nuno. Now, I don't know if he was injured or this was a tactical change. I mean, if this was a tactical change, then this was the reason why West Ham went on to lose this game. As I say, taking off a forward in Pablo and then going ahead and bringing on a midfielder in James Ward-Prowse and changing it up didn't work out in the slightest for West Ham. James Ward-Prowse didn't have a good impact on the game at all. And you feel like if he kept it the same, then things could have definitely gone things could definitely continue at least for a little bit longer in the way that they were going in terms of West Ham being pretty decent in terms of in possession of the ball, controlled the game a lot of it, and they looked pretty decent overall. And you would have said at that point, if you were watching the first half, you would have thought West Ham should comfortably go on and win this game. Burnley completely get back into the game, get a whole load of chances. I mean, we'll talk about Zian Flemming in depth a little bit more, but I'm still looking at him thinking, you know, you made one substitution on 40 on an half time, and you've waited until the 87th minute to go ahead and make another change. And I mean, you got away with it, right? Because Manor Solomon put West Ham 2-0 up from an unbelievable piece of play from Kante, by the way. I mean, he has definitely shown glimpses. Kante's got a lot. I mean, he's definitely one to watch, I think it's fair to say, in this Championship season. But he's definitely someone that needs to improve and tidy up a whole lot of his game, in my opinion. But he showed the ability and the potential that he's got. I mean, as I say, he's 20 years old. He's not going to be the full package. But you can see he's got the attributes there to be a very, very good player, a very key player for West Ham over the course of the season. A really good run, takes on his man, I think it was Marcus Edwards, he took on, and then brought the ball to the byline, pulled the ball back, got to a touch off the keeper, and then it fell to Manor Solomon, who I do think Manor Solomon will be a very good player for West Ham this season. Definitely showed his ability for West Ham in this match and showed glimpses of what he can do over the course of this season. I mean, I've spoken a lot about Solomon before in terms of what he did last time in the Championship. Look at his output. The guy does produce goals, he produces moments in games, and he gets himself in the right areas to either set up a chance for somebody else or as well as that put the ball in the back of the net for himself, which, as I say, he found the right position, just about managed to get himself free as the ball got pulled back, and a very comfortable finish from him. And as I say, I think that's the start of a season for Solomon, where I think he is going to get some very good numbers in the Championship, and hopefully, I mean, from a West Ham fan perspective, you'd hope that he can, rival the numbers and kind of get similar numbers to the numbers that he put up when he was last in the Championship at Leeds United, where he was unbelievable. So, Manor Solomon, I think, a really good positive there for West Ham. And then you think, you're 2-0 up in the match, 20 minutes to go. You've got a team under Nuno, which we know how West Ham are going to play. They're going to rely on that individual quality going forward, which they have got with the likes of Bowen, with the likes of Castellanos, we didn't really see too much of today, and with the likes of Manor Solomon as well. And you're going to rely on that quality like they did against Portsmouth, where they blew them away and scored 3 goals in 10 minutes. And then you're going to be relying on them being solid defensively, not make many mistakes, and not give the opposition too many chances. But that wasn't the case at all. West Ham sat back and let Burnley come onto them. And it's not even like they were comfortable at any point during that second half. Because as I say, Zian Flemming could have had a hat load of goals. I mean, 8 touches in the West Ham box. Look at where he was getting his touches there. 9 shots on goal is an absolute joke. To let your opposition striker have 9 shots on goal. Zian Flemming could have literally walked away with 4 goals easily in that match, by the way. So to let the opposition striker walk away with that many chances and let him have that. He only completed 10 passes in the match and he had 9 shots on goal. Like, you've got to be cutting. I mean, Zian Flemming we know is the main threat. The main threat for Burnley, and to not keep him quiet and to let him have just have rain terror over that West Ham defence was an absolute shambles. And as I say, with Nuno as well, with the substitutions, you can see the game going. You think at 2-0 up, maybe try and consolidate a bit more, maybe try and bring on a couple of players. I know the depth, and we'll speak about that with West Ham, isn't great, but you have an experienced player in Joel Veltman who you could have very easily brought onto the field as well earlier on. And as well as that, you had a left back in Scholes who in the second half got tormented, to be honest. I mean, he's a player that I don't think West Ham can have as their starting left back throughout the season. If they're going to sell Malik Diouf, they need to bring in somebody else. So I just don't think Scholes is quite up to the task in terms of being your starting left back week in, week out for a team that's going to, in a 46 game long season. As a backup, he could probably do, but in terms of, like, you look at other left backs in the division, there's some very good left backs in the Championship. And I think West Ham, if they do sell Malik Diouf for a big fee, need to be upgrading that area. Because I do think if Scholes, I mean, he dives into a challenge, which he just didn't need to do. Marcus Edwards, I think, in the second half really did have his number in that second half. And Marcus Edwards put in a really good performance. We know the quality that he's got. And as I say, you might come up against a winger of the quality of him every single week, but there's many good wingers who are very quick and, can do something. They can get themselves a little bit of space. And if you're going to dive into tackles like that, they've got the pace of these players having the ability just to go over and get themselves a penalty like that. And Scholes, they dived into a tackle. They said it on commentary, if you're going in for a tackle like that, you have to be certain you got to go win the ball. And it shows this kind of lack of experience. I mean, obviously only 20 years old, it's hard to, you can't criticise him too heavily, but you've got to say with Nuno there, maybe bring on someone a little bit more experienced, protect him a little bit better in that situation, because you could see down that Burnley right-hand side, they were definitely causing a few problems. And I think Nuno was too late with those substitutions. To change the formation the way that he did was an absolute shambles. I think that is on Nuno right there. But as I say, I think if that penalty doesn't get given away, West Ham probably do walk away and go and win that game. And then, of course, Burnley go and get the goal, and it was always going to be all Burnley from that moment onwards. And then Zian Flemming, the ball breaks him in the box and he puts the ball into the back of the net. I would be absolutely shocked if Zian Flemming stays at Burnley come the end of the window. When you look at the numbers that he put up in the Premier League last season, I mean, 11 goals. It wasn't even that. I think he started about 20 games and scored 11 goals. His goal return was impressive, and I think this season in the Championship, I think now he's had that season of confidence in the Premier League where he's showed that he can, score goals at that level. He has that confidence, and that we know he has the ability as well, where he could score a hat load of goals in the Championship. And if he stays at Burnley, he could be one of the Championship top goal scorers this season, 100%. I said that at the start of the season. If he stays at Burnley, which I don't think he will, he'll score a hat load of goals. I mean, I'm sure there'll be clubs interested in Premier League clubs, newly promoted clubs. Even West Ham themselves could have gone in for a player like Zian Flemming and probably been able to take him off Burnley. But he was so impressive. And as I say, he just kept going. He had a lot of chances, one cleared off the line at the woodwork. He could have so easily scored 4 goals in that game, and it just shows he gets there. If you give him the chances, he did it in the Carabao Cup in the first game for Burnley as well. A constant threat. He's going to be their main man if he ends up staying. And fair play to Burnley for battling on and keeping going, because at 2-0, that you would have thought that would have been game over, but they were fantastic in the second half, absolutely dominated the second half. And you'd have to say, I mean, based on the stats, Burnley 100% deserve to get themselves at least a point in that match. And West Ham, as I say, under Nuno, that kind of style of play, the West Ham fans knew it, and people will not be happy with Nuno at all. Shutting up shop realistically, bringing on the midfielder, and trying to sit on what you've got when you've got the players in the Championship like Jarrod, Bowen, Castellanos. You've got some real quality. Manor Solomon. You want to be going forward and trying to kill off teams a little bit better than that. And as I say, Burnley are still a decent team. And I looked at the substitutions, who came on for Burnley. Obviously, Burnley using all their subs. Like, their bench isn't even that bad, to be honest. You're bringing on Jossaron, Amdouni, Armando Broja. I mean, obviously, he's had a bad injury record, but he has scored goals as well. Perez and Trezor. They're bringing on decent players. I look at that West Ham bench and think, Veltman's a good substitute to finish off games. He will be this season. Malik Diouf, you don't even know if he's staying. And then James Ward-Prowse as well. I mean, the other ones there, a lot of youngsters that West Ham have on the bench. I'm thinking that bench is just so weak. And it just shows that West Ham, if you want to be serious in the Championship this season, then you're going to have to invest quite a lot more and bulk up this squad a massive amount in terms of an extra forward player. 100% you need to be bringing in another one, maybe even two. Central midfield is so evident that West Ham need another body in there. Obviously they've got Engels, but suddenly need another one in there as well. So it'll be much better when Engels does come in. And then as well as that, the left back area, whatever happens with Juve, he needs to either stay and play or he needs to get sold, and West Ham need to be reinvested. I think this squad, look at them substitutions, a few injuries. And you're bringing in players there that I just don't think West Ham will be able to, as what people said, a lot of neutrals said, like West Ham should be walking the Championship. I look at that bench and think, you're just not going to be walking the Championship with those kind of substitutes. And obviously there's so many players with West Ham in terms of who's actually going to end up leaving. Obviously a lot of players not in the squad. Magassa wasn't in the squad, so he'll be on his way. Alvarez as well will probably be on his way. Of course, they need Souček to be returned as well, and he'll help bulk up that midfield as well. Maxwell Cornet will probably end up going as well. There's still a whole load of questions, and Todibo as well. There's so many questions on so many players where you think, it's just a little bit too hectic right now. And of course, it's always going to be like that as a relegated team like West Ham going down from the Premier League, probably unexpected at the start of the Premier League season. You're always going to have them question marks over players. It's going to run right till the end of the window in terms of who's going to leave and who's going to end up joining West Ham as well. But there's no doubt they are going to have to invest pretty heavily if they want to be serious about getting themselves promoted. Now, a point isn't the end of the world. The first game against Burnley. As I say, Burnley, based on their squad, and obviously they got relegated from the Premier League, they should, on paper, be up there come the end of the season as well. And it's away from home and it's a point. But from the position that you're in, 2-0 up, not in complete control, but the game looked beyond Burnley at 2-0. To let them get back into it like that in the last 10 minutes is just so poor. And questions will 100% be asked of Nuno in terms of the substitutions, in terms of the style of play. And as I say, it's nothing new for West Ham fans, and we all knew West Ham were going to set up like that. But you would hope that they'll be able to keep the ball out of the back of their net, and it would have been absolutely fine. But that wasn't the case. As I say, a point isn't the end of the world, and Burnley will probably do alright this season if they keep hold of Zian Flemming. But from a West Ham perspective, it's so disappointing, and there's so much work now that needs to be done from here to the end of the transfer window, and it's just proved it, that match. So let me know what you think if you're a West Ham fan. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on the game. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. If you're a Burnley fan as well, please do drop a like and subscribe as well. If you are new around here, if you've watched this point, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, it only takes 1 second. It'll be very greatly appreciated. And as well as that, hype the video as well. If you enjoyed it and you agree with what I said, please do hype the video. That goes a long way for me. As I say, please do like, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.